When I was 13, my family moved into an old farmhouse at the edge of a forest. The house wasn't abandoned or creepy looking. It had fresh white paint, a red roof, and a wide porch that wrapped around the front. The nearest neighbor lived almost a mile away, and beyond our backyard stretched acres of dark pine trees. My mother loved the quiet. My father loved the low price. I hated it the moment I saw it. I couldn't explain why. Maybe it was because the house felt empty in a strange way, as if someone had left only moments before we arrived. Or maybe it was because of the basement door. It sat in the middle of the kitchen floor. Not a normal basement entrance with stairs and a handrail, just two thick wooden doors with a rusted iron ring in the center. The wood was scarred with deep scratches. When I asked what caused them, my father laughed. Probably rats. The answer didn't make me feel better. The previous owner had vanished from town shortly before selling the property. Nobody seemed interested in talking about him. Whenever my parents asked questions, people changed the subject. One old man at the gas station stared at us for a moment before saying, "Keep that basement locked." Then he walked away. My father called him crazy. I wished he hadn't. The first week passed quietly. We unpacked boxes, set up furniture, explored the surrounding woods. Everything seemed normal. Then the knocking started. It happened exactly 1 week after we moved in. I woke suddenly in the middle of the night. The digital clock beside my bed read 2 a.m. At first, I didn't know what had awakened me. Then I heard it. Thump. A heavy knock echoed through the house. I sat up. The sound came again. Thump. A third followed. Thump. Then silence. I waited. Nothing. Eventually, I convinced myself it had been a dream and went back to sleep. The next morning, I mentioned it at breakfast. Neither of my parents had heard anything. "Old houses settle," my father said. That's probably all it was. I nodded. But deep down, I knew better. The next night, it happened again. 2 a.m. 3 knocks. The night after that? The same. Every single night. Always 3 knocks. Never more. Never less. By the end of the week, I was terrified of bedtime. One night, I decided to figure out where the sound came from. When the knocking started, I quietly left my room and crept downstairs. The house was completely dark. Moonlight spilled through the kitchen windows. I stood perfectly still, waiting. Then, thump. The sound vibrated beneath my feet. My heart nearly stopped. The knock came from below, directly below, under the kitchen floor, under the basement doors. Something was knocking from inside the basement. I backed away slowly, then another knock sounded, louder. Thump. The doors trembled, just slightly, but enough. Enough to make me run upstairs as fast as I could. The next morning, I told my parents exactly what I had seen. This time, my father frowned. "You actually saw the doors move?" "Yes." He stared at me for a moment, then shrugged. "Fine, tonight we'll check." That evening after dinner, he grabbed a flashlight. My mother crossed her arms nervously. "You're really doing this?" "Of course," he said. "Then everyone can stop worrying." He pulled on the iron ring. The basement doors groaned open. A cold draft drifted upward. The smell hit us immediately. Damp soil, mold, something older, something rotten. The flashlight beam disappeared into darkness. A narrow staircase descended underground. "See?" Dad said. "Nothing scary." He started down. Reluctantly, my mother and I followed. The basement was larger than expected. Stone walls surrounded a dirt floor. Ancient shelves lined the room. Most were empty. Some held dusty jars whose contents had long since turned black. The flashlight swept across the far wall, then stopped. A wooden chair sat alone in the corner, and on the chair was a doll, a small porcelain doll. Its face was cracked. One eye was missing. The remaining eye seemed to stare directly at us. My mother shivered. "That's creepy." Dad laughed nervously and picked it up. The doll felt heavier than it looked. As he turned it over, one of its arms snapped off and fell into the dirt. For a moment, nobody spoke. Then Dad tossed the doll onto a shelf. There, he smiled. Problem solved. We left the basement and locked the doors behind us. That night there was no knocking. For the first time in weeks, I slept peacefully. The silence continued. 1 day, 3 days, a week, 2 weeks. The knocking had finally stopped. Then, on a rainy Tuesday morning, my father left for work and never came home.